What's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 124. Thank you for joining us tonight. And speaking of joining us, we have a guest. It's been a little while. So, you might have heard him on, well, a lot of different places. Could have heard him on Thought Cops, Consumer Reports, whole bunch of different podcasts out there. You might have come across his music on Spotify and Apple, which is his main bag. Or you might have seen a certain t-shirt that Justin Wang even wore on his socials. So he is the one and only Slime to Garbage Man. Slime, how you doing, man?
What's up, man? I'm ready to play a game and suck a dick, whatever it is you guys do over here. Man, that shirt's going to follow me till I'm in the grave. Not that I don't appreciate people liking it, but Jesus Christ.
Did that shit sell out, like, after he threw it up there?
I mean, from various
right?
avenues. Like, no, I mean, it's just like, for 2 weeks it was like super hot shit, and I'm not going to say numbers, but I made off pretty good with it. But
there you go.
I mean, that's the benefit of going viral with a product in hand.
Yeah, so what do you call it? We'll be putting a picture up on here right now. Actually, Brian, I don't think you saw it yet, did you?
Mm-mm.
Oh,
send
shit.
it this way.
It's going to hit you.
Oh, God.
Oh, no.
Yeah, that's definitely a Wang style right there. He would like that, yep.
Yeah, man. Fucking, I was shocked that he was fucking with it, because I didn't realize how big of a deal he was until, like, he got the shirt, and people, like, I put it in my story, and people were like, yo! And I was like, shit, I thought it was just, like, Kevin and Grant's friend.
Right.
So wait, let me ask
guys
you.
On the show.
I'm looking at your shirts now, but earlier, I've been looking through your Spotify and everything, and you obviously have unique art. Do you do all that yourself?
Yeah, I'm a graphic designer.
Nice.
Not a lot of the cover art. I mean, like, a lot of, like, the stuff for the music gets commissioned out. I used to do it mostly myself, but I try to, like, I don't know, there's a lot of, like, artistic voices out there that are a lot better than mine, so I try to, like, reach out to as many of those people as I can. But all the merch stuff you see is me.
That's awesome. Nice. So,
Yes,
so it obviously, I think it's being artistic is just it's interconnected. But when did this shit start for you? When did you start deciding, like, I want to take this a little more serious, go down this path? Like, what happened?
With music?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I made music my entire life. I used to do, it kind of seems trite now, like it's like the trajectory for like a white guy in his 20s. But I used to do a lot of hardcore and metal, like I was in punk bands and power balance bands and metal bands, all that shit when I was a teen and in my early 20s, and I just got fed up with like hauling amps around. I don't know if either of you guys do music or if you've been around music, but it gets to be a fucking pain after a while. And I'd always had an interest in rap, and I had my engineer Nemo, who I had started making music with initially, like rap stuff, like first dipping my toes in, and then my homie Vince the Messenger, who is probably the most talented rapper out of Canada or the East Coast, either one, whichever's easier right now. The three of us just kind of started cooking together, and since then it's just been the biggest thing I say about rap, like the easiest way to summarize it is like when you're doing music with a band, you have to write a song, teach it to everyone in the band, get it tight, perform it, and then go to record it, track it out, all that bullshit. So from the time you have concept to finished product, it could be weeks, months, years. But with rap, like, if you have a beat ready, or even if you need someone to just like make it, you can go from concept to finished recorded product in like, I think the fastest I've done it is like 20 minutes. It's just the most immediate, like, get it out of your fucking brain.
So is that more collaborative,
satisfying.
like you and your engineer? Like, does he usually come up with a beat for you, or do you have something in your mind? You're like, hey, what if we put this together, and then you come up with the lyrics after the fact, or is it like inverse of that?
It can work a little bit of both. I mean, because I got a big note in my phone that's just tons and tons of loose bars, just anything I think might be like clever imagery or anything I might think would like work together in a cohesive way. And I do write stuff like conceptually, like this, all these bars will be for one song. Much less recently, but yeah, my engineer is he produces the beat sometimes, but he's mostly responsible for just the recording, mixing, and mastering. A lot of the beats are made by just friends of mine that produce and are beat makers. Crime Wave, Neighborhood Arion, fucking Nemo himself. I don't know, lots of cats.
No, that's awesome. I mean, that's one of those things. Let me ask you though. So you were in multiple bands. Obviously, music's a huge part of your life. Do you find it now though? Listening to other music is almost like a part-time job because you can't even enjoy it regularly. Like you're almost listening to it analytically, like comparing it to what you do.
It really depends on what kind of music. I mean, I'm not really like, I'm always trying to improve myself, but I'm not extremely competitive with what I'm doing. Like, I mean, that works for some people in terms of just, a catalyst for getting them to get up off their ass and do it. But as far as I'm concerned, I just like admire and I want to like aspire to the things that I see other people doing that are like I think is like cooler than what I'm doing or is on par. Like every time I hear a contemporary or a peer like succeed or do something, I'm like, that's fucking awesome. Like that just makes me want to drive to be as good as that. You know what I mean? But in terms of like listening to music, no, I absolutely lose no joy in listening to music. Like this guy from where the fuck is he from? New England. This is gonna fucking completely lift the veil on my U.S. geography, but is New England a state or just a section of states?
Just a section of states.
Yep.
Yeah.
He from somewhere in that corner of the hell. But he's Joey. He just put out a new EP called Attention to Retail, and I've just been running that constantly. And like I think a lot of other people in the same sphere as me might hear something that good with like that kind of consummate professionalism and go like, oh, like I want to best him. But for me, I just want to be like, I love this. I just want to listen to it because it's just something I'm so submerged in.
Yeah. No, I think that's generally, there's too much of a famine thinking when it comes to any industry. And I think you have the right mentality of, what's good for one person rising up is good for everybody. Because then eventually they might hear you through him or something and you'll go, oh,
exactly.
okay.
And that's exactly how that works. Like a rising tide, man. That's what it's all about. And this is the last, like, I don't know. I don't mean to continue to rant about music, but like the biggest thing that I've noticed, especially with rap music, underground rap music from like the time I started in 2016 to now, is that it is an extremely small world. Because if you think about the scope of people that are making rap music in the world today, fucking millions, bajillions of people. But then you think about, like a smaller core to that of people who are doing something within degrees of separation to each other that's like worth something like industry-wise. Like the top tier players, like right down to the people that are just periphery to them. Probably closer to like around 20, 30, 40,000 people, something like that, right? Once you are kind of in a network that occupies that space, you'll really realize how small it is. Because I live in a place called Prince Edward Island. It's the smallest province in Canada. We have a population that's about on par with that or less. And in towns here, even in the capital, like you can't go anywhere without seeing someone you know. Or without seeing something like, oh, I remember I went to school with your brother, or like, oh, like, no, your cousin's wife is actually used to be married to my uncle, like some bullshit like that. And it's exactly the same principle in rap music, because I remember every time I've ever gone to the States to work on some or to like network or play a show or anything, you have the same experience. It's like, oh, your friend produced that EP for you. Like, oh, I got a beat off him one time. Or like, oh, you did a feature with this guy. He used to be in my group. Like, all that kind of shit. It's exactly the same thing. So as long as you are active and, you're staying up to date, it's opportunities will just arise. I can't tell you how many people I've met and started with that are now, like, buying houses off of what they're doing.
That's awesome, man. I mean, that's living a dream, and that's awesome you're there. But, we talked earlier, so, like, we're used to dealing with people, video games, beer. YouTube is, like, their main avenue. Now, for someone like you, who's an artist making music, what's the platform you care about the most? Like, you're going to put the most attention towards?
I mean, probably Spotify. Just like for any... probably any other contemporary like musician or artist will tell you that like streams is where it's at right now, and that's where you have to put your focus, and you have to like at least have some kind of working knowledge of how algorithms work, which is like it's like definitely an applicable, transferable skill from YouTube people to like know what your circles are and to like stay within them, because you'll know like, oh, if the fucking all-knowing AI knows that this person likes this and I'm adjacent to them, then they'll like this. And so definitely that, because that's where the money is being made right now. Albeit it's like typically pennies to the stream, but I mean, you can still, I don't know, you still do fair enough.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. I mean, It fascinates me, like that kind of, we know how YouTube algorithms work, and they're not ideal for a lot of smaller people, but I wasn't sure if they're a little better in things like Spotify or SoundCloud or any of those.
I mean, I have no point of ref. I mean, SoundCloud's like basically a moot point. It's like a dead medium at this point, which is like, because I used to think about it, because like in 2015, 16, 17, that's where I would like go to listen to music. That's where I actively streamed it.
Yeah.
I can't tell. I uploaded there now. I can't tell you the last time I went to scroll through to find something new. Maybe that just comes with age. I mean, like, they say when you're like,
always sucked too, so that doesn't.
Yeah, no, and I mean it still sucks. And they're trying to make it some kind of like a legacy institution now. Like they came up with their own version of like the XXL class of like, look at all these like hot new artists, and it's just like no one's even cared about XXL in 3 years. Like, what the fuck are you trying to achieve?
Yeah.
Anyway.
No, but so I saw you sipping on something there. It didn't look like beer. Looks like Mountain Dew.
No, sir.
What you got?
I keep hold on to my punk roots. I'm still straight edge Gold Star. I got my goddamn Faygo Moon Mist.
Faygo Moon Mist.
Yeah.
I've heard of that. I've never seen it here. I don't even know if we got it here in the States. Well, at least not in Philly. We don't. But
yeah, no wicked motherfucking clown love in Philly. I'll tell you that right now. Nah, that shit. No, that's like import. Or like it was for a long time. I mean, there's just like this. There's a new corner store that opened. That's just like some hole in the wall spot. But for some reason, they got that. They got Doritos, like a bunch of U.S. sodas, like we're not supposed to have here.
Oh,
so I'm taking advantage of it. Yes, I don't know.
So no beer for you at all, though. Nothing.
No, I don't got no problem with it. But yeah, no beer for me. But you boys seem to be sipping on something yourselves. I know you like to gab about the hops and the fucking wheat and shit.
Dude, it's like any industry. As soon as you hate it, when you hear people talking like, what the fuck are they talking about? And then when you do it yourself, you find yourself doing it. You're like, son of a bitch. It drew me in. So Jim,
Exactly.
Jim, what you got?
I am drinking not a pineapple beer from the Juicy. It's a Juicy double IPA from the Los Angeles Ale Works.
Anti-Semitic.
What? J-O-O, Bri. J-O-O. They did it South Park spelling.
It's a little juicy to me. I don't know.
Well, it's got a little schmitz to it, but what do we got here? What's the alcohol? Where's the alcohol at? Oh, 8.5% alcohol by volume. So, from the brewing company. Simple-ass name. Let's see here. Hops, malt, H2O, Gary. What the fuck's Gary? Pineapple, coconut, a brewing logo, and yeast. So
my friend Gary
spit
spit in it.
That's what that
Probably.
A little bit of eau du Gary.
Tastes a little northern shit.
So yeah, I'm drinking this funky ass can. It's called Das Yummy. It's some chick just licking. I don't even know what the hell she's supposed to be licking, but it's a key lime pie
Shit, that looks
style.
hard.
Yeah, it's key lime pie style sour ale with graham cracker, vanilla, and lactose. I don't know what the fuck Ouzelfinch beers and blending means, but it's from head brewer Rachel Howard. Okay, and this is 6.5%. I'm not gonna lie. It's not the best. It is sour as shit. I mean, you get a little bit of the graham cracker, which is nice. As you drink it, it gets a tiny bit better. But not my favorite, Rachel.
You're being a little nice, Brian, because your first sip before the show, you went, "Oh, that's fucking terrible."
Yeah, it's it's grown on me. I mean, I'm almost on the glass. It's almost there, but I'm not probably gonna dip my toes back in this one. But yeah, the can art is what drew me in. I'm not gonna lie, that got me. So.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
That's another big thing I've noticed is like a huge aspect of the marketability with like because there's like shit tons of microbreweries here, and anytime I see like the tall boys or the cans or whatever, like a huge part of it now is like just this super in your face like vector art style of like cans.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know, and I don't know like how much that has to do with the actual like taste of it. Literally nothing. But, like I don't know. I suppose what I mean is like how accurately it like associates with the flavor.
So that's what's funny.
You know what I mean?
Beer snobs will give you shit, like, because if you're a consumer, you go through an aisle, you don't know, there's a million beers looking at you. Of course you're going to go to the can that draws your eye. If you don't know no better, that's going to draw you in, and beer snobs will be like, well, that doesn't mean it's a quality beer. It's like, yeah, but if you don't know the difference, who cares? Because there's the polar opposite. There's the people that go really extreme, in-your-face art that looks amazing, like Jim and I have talked about it. Then there's those that go for that minimalist style, and they'll literally just have like can o beer, kind of like Jim. Like that's super minimalist. Nothing wrong
Black
with
and white
it, I
outline,
guess.
fine.
But I'm
No.
like, okay, I'm not gonna pick that up unless I know the brewery.
Yeah, you know what's funny though is like between those two different art styles, you could definitely associate that with two different kinds of beer drinkers.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the super stripped down minimalist just like, yes, I would like to put this in a nice big like weird Stella Artois adjacent glass.
Well, you're a graphic designer. I was gonna say like, dude, the market right now is so hot for people making beer labels. Like one of
100%.
like one of our friends, Hannah, who's the head brewer of Naked Brewing, she actually gets her art from a student that does graphic design, and like she does great work. But that's like, man, brewers are actively always looking, like graphic designer. And for someone like you who has some, I love the art style, like you said, for your songs, and I know you said you did some and you had some other people. But shit, man, when you see singers or celebrities of any kind collaborating with beer, and then they share their art together, that's kind of a cool thing too.
Oh yeah, there's actually a rapper from South Florida, Big Baby Scumbag, that had his own Tricks and cereal milk flavored beer not long ago. I don't remember who the brewer was, but yeah, I don't even know where that flavor would have come from stylistically. Yeah, I don't know what the fuck it would taste like. I don't even really know what beer tastes like beyond what it smells like. But yeah, I can't imagine that being too good. But yeah, no, that's what I mean. And it's like, it's super attractive that way. It's definitely a lucrative option for a lot of young designers and artists out there.
Yeah, man. It's another industry just booming, so they're taking advantage where they can. But no, let me ask you. So we know you're into music, we know graphic design and everything, but are you a gamer like Jim and I?
Oh, you motherfucker, you best believe I am. I wish I could turn this around without upsetting my whole setup, but like I'm looking at my whole wall of just like movies, figures, plush, games, like not even the wall, just like a tall ass shell. I love video games. I haven't had as much time recently to play them as I would like to, but my entire life. Like, I mean, if you like you've heard my music, like video games are a huge part of the aesthetic and lyrical influence of that. Like almost all of my imagery and wordplay, if it's not like referencing film, it's referencing video games.
Or comics. Yeah. Like I heard a Jack Kirby line thrown in there. I was like, this motherfucker over here.
Oh shit! Yeah. That was a good one. Yeah, painting villains like Jack Kirby or something like that.
But yeah, I mean, like what do you call it? Like your one song I heard earlier on Lockdown, like you mentioned Wii hacking and like you just spout off a bunch of PS2 games and shit like that.
Oh, you heard on yeah, the fucking Detroit ripoff fucking scam track. Damn,
Yep.
I forgot about that one. Yeah, no, that was just like a bullshit ass song. But yeah, no, I'll tell you why that came up. That was actually a direct parody of like a style that's big in the Midwest right now. That's like often called Detroit flow or scam rap or stuff like that. Like these super like high BPM, high tempo beats and people doing like these quick punch-in bars that are like not really on beat, but it's like about the poignancy of like coming off the top of your head when you're saying it and just like the absurdist element to it. And a lot of like the reason it's called scam rap is that like they're talking about like, I don't know, like trading crypto and like cracking people's visas and like
I heard crypto
all that
mentioned
kind
a
of
couple times. I was like, man,
yeah.
I don't know if he's going real deep in nerd culture, if he's got a bit he's trying to hit with this song or not.
No,
So
it did big time bit, huge bit, and that's what I mean. It's just like I don't know, fucking, my head from my ass when it comes to any of that stuff. I don't even want to try to, but I think it would just be funny to hear a guy get on a track and be like, I got in the SD card to put homebrew on my Wii, like that kind of shit. But yeah, no, big time. I love video games. What have the lads been playing recently?
Dude, so we well, as of this podcast, potentially by the end of this week, we'll have the review out for shit-ass Mortal Kombat Mythologies Sub-Zero, that fucking game. But no, we finished out all of the Mortal Kombat spin-offs, so I finished that, and I play a shit ton of Dead by Daylight, and I still have been.
Yeah, my girlfriend loves that game.
Dude, it's one of the, it's funny, like, I don't know if she experiences it, but goddamn, you get people so butthurt if they lose. And I've never gotten messaged so much than I did. And I love when I'm on stream and people will be dropping like every terrible thing they can. And I'm like, you're being streamed right now, right? And they're like, fuck you. But like,
you're caught in real time.
Yeah, like that game obviously. But I'm a diehard horror fan, so
Oh yeah, bro. Well, I
always
can
gonna-
see all that shit
Yeah,
behind
you
you,
see
man.
it, yeah.
And I mean, same here. Like, I love exploitation and like all that old shit. Yeah, so.
But the only other game I tried recently, and I don't know if either of you tried it, it was like 2016. It was called Murdered Soul. Fuck.
The fucking Ellen Page game.
No. It's the one where you're the detective and you're solving your own murder. Like,
wasn't that like it was like had something to do with Heavy Rain? Like it was like in the same universe as it.
Kind of like that. Like, yeah, it's like Murdered Soul Survivor, Soul Suspect, or something.
Yeah, I remember the one. I know the one you're talking about.
Yeah, like, I just like investigation games, and my wife is all into true crime, so I was like, oh, this seems like it would be interesting. I just started that. It's interesting is the best I'll give it right now. I would give it a try, but I don't know. But what about you guys? What you been playing?
Slime, go ahead, man. You first.
Motherfucking what I've been playing. I feel like I'm constantly in some way just playing Mega Man Battle Network 3. I'm just taking really long breaks in between. That's my favorite game also. Like, just like the ready answer I have is like, if I don't have to think about it, that's my favorite game. Just because I think that had like the biggest impact on me just in terms of like, realize because like it's kind of a tough nut to crack for a lot of people because it's such an anime game, but through some miracle I ended up playing that before I'd watched any anime, so that was like my introduction to that scope of media. But yeah, like it just kind of like introduced video games to me as like a narrative thing, more so than I would say like anything like Pokemon or Zelda even did, of just like how long a cutscene can be and it doesn't feel like boring, and as like a kid I just want to skip through it, like I want to read it and get it. But yeah, I've been playing that here and there. I just got a new gaming PC, so I've been running Fallout 3 a little bit, just going back through that for the first time in years. And I'm constantly picking at Tetris 99 and Pokemon Snap. Oh shit, yeah, Pokemon Snap is a free update today. I forgot about that.
Nice.
I like the new one. I heard a bunch of people were like, yeah, it's like the old one again. It's like, isn't that what you wanted?
Yeah, exactly. but that's what I mean, bro. It's like the old one, but tenfold with way more shit to do.
Oh, okay, good.
Oh, it's sick. Yeah, like, as where the old one, you could run that in probably, like, a few hours or less than that. Like, this one is, like, oh, my God, man. Yeah, you will always go back. There's such a great incentive to, like, re-explore areas and retread ground. I wrote a review for it for Hard Drive.
Nice.
That's awesome.
And also, make sure to check them out on harddrive.net, too, so...
Yeah, all the links are below, but no, Slime, I wanted to ask you.
I was like, wait a second. Like, before I knew that I was like, you doing that. I was like, oh, wait, it's another one of the... God damn it.
Got his ass.
Now, Slime, let me ask you. You're playing through Fallout 3, haven't played in a while. Now that you're doing it on PC, are you doing it modded or vanilla?
I mean, I've never touched any of the mods for it. I've thought about, like, trying to run some of those, like... Because people make entire games out of 3 in New Vegas.
Yeah.
And I've been tempted to try, because they recently finished the Frontier, whatever the one is for New Vegas, where it's like they go to Alaska or some bullshit like that. I have that downloaded. I haven't even tried to install it yet. But yeah, this is the first time going back through it on PC, because I played it originally on 360 in like 2013 or 2014 or something like that. Like well past when you're like supposed to have played like your Fallouts and shit like that. But yeah, it is significantly slower than I recall it. A lot of green and gray and black and just shit moving at a snail's pace, and I'm still having fun, but it's like, damn, this is a burn, a slow burn.
Yeah, dude, going back to that, Jim and I are the same way. We love Bethesda games, but we play them years after. And Fallout 3, like, that was one of those games that introduced me to really RPG. That was my RPG, like, really getting me into that shit. But yeah, going back, dude, going through the tunnels, oh my God. It's so, you're like,
yeah,
right,
I just did
enough.
I just did the ant mission, and I'm just like, these motherfuckers. Just like,
there's fire
not
ants
even that
and
it's
shit.
yeah, not even that it's like particularly tough, but it's just like such like slog to like go back through, and just like I don't know, I'm not looking forward to like clearing the metro of ghouls again, but whatever.
Now, what do you call it with the Mega Man Battle Network series? That's like the forgotten like offshoot of that. Like they had like 6 games in like the GBA days, and then like it just went away and never came back.
It went away because, like so many things, tragically, it was a much bigger deal in Japan. They made a good, honest college try for it in the West, but it's just, I think it's just, not to sound like I'm some like fucking auteur of dumbass Game Boy Advance games, but it was like too inaccessible For a lot of the West, just like it's too high concept because like when you think about it, like you're controlling Lan, who was controlling Mega Man, who was playing his own video game, and it's just it's just too weird of a concept to try and sell to kids because like even they won't really get it. It's not as simple as like I have a little guy that's for me. It's like no, you have a guy who has his own guy, and that guy exists in the internet. Like, yeah, which is tragic because it's.
Digimon was like as far as you could go. You could be like, you can go into the game, but you still have to have a little friend. You can't be going into the game and then controlling a friend who's controlling the game. That kind of deal.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we can. I don't know if we can all agree on it, but I think like as far as the collectible monster series go, like I like Digimon a lot more than I like Pokemon. But we definitely know who came out winning in that clash. Just because, and it's solely because like Pokemon had Nintendo behind it, and it's a lot more accessible. It's like you are a guy and you have a little animal, not like you're a guy who goes into the internet and you have an internet animal that's made out of code.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah, sometimes you get a little too meta with your delivery, and only the hardcores are going to care about it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. What about you, Chambers? What you been playing, if you're allowed?
Son of a bitch. But when I am allowed. Actually, I have been playing a lot of... So I just did that 32X collection video. So I'm doing the same thing now, but with my TurboGrafx 16 games. So going through all of them, collecting, hour footage for each one. If I can beat it, I can, but most of them I can't. But, so, it's a good way to sit down and, like, spend a lot of time with some of the ones I've only breezed through before. And then it's, like, hitting a lot of the Patreon things. So Darkwing Duck, finally sitting down and putting some time to that. That'll be the next Patreon review we do. And like Brian said, with all the Mortal Kombat stuff. So it hasn't been really a lot of like leisure playing. It's just been a lot of like, all right, this project, that kind of shit.
Good. Keeps you from playing all those stupid shit games.
What stupid shit games? Titty pinball?
Like your hentai, your titty pinball.
Senran Kagura Peach Ball.
Oh shit! Yo, man, I got a damn Sonico mouse pad coming in the mail tomorrow.
Man of taste.
Yes, sir.
No!
My G. Now, is Peach Ball's pinball? I'm only familiar with their the Splatoon clone, which is like the Peach Beach, whatever the fuck.
Oh yeah. Peach Ball's the pinball spinoff. So like, I'm a big video game pinball guy. So I was like, I never really played Senran Kagura, so I was like, anime titties and pinball. I don't know if I'm gonna like this one. Nothing here really appealing.
Yeah, it's a real toss-up.
Damn it, Jim.
What? But yeah, that's been pretty much it for the most part. So just going to try and bang out a lot more projects in the meantime.
Nice. But Jim, you threw something up here, and we should give a special shout-out to one of our buddies, speaking of games, and something I'm sure we'll be playing once we can get it.
And speaking of patrons, too.
Yeah.
Our good buddy, the Retro Room Roo. So... for those out there, you might know him as the guy... Actually, he's been blowing up a lot lately. He's been on, like, videos done by Boogie and John Riggs and a bunch of other people. Stephen Wright just had him in there. So, he's coming out with a new game. So, his old game is Quest Arrest, which was a, like, kind of a fan hack of Pokemon, but way more adult-themed, we can put it that way. So, now he's coming up with a brand new original...
Pussymon.
He's working on that just for me. That was a special request. But he's working on a new game called Gelatinous, which is going to be like a straight-up old-school Game Boy action platformer. He's working on it with a buddy of ours, Longy Long. So they actually just launched their Kickstarter. You can check out their page. You can sign up for the mailing list. So it isn't live yet, but definitely check it out. I've seen some screenshots of it through development, and it's looking pretty awesome. So I'm not just saying that because he, throws us a few shekels here and there, but because he's a good dude, so he makes quality shit. So make sure to check that out.
No, yeah, I was checking that out earlier in the Drive link or the Google Doc or whatever. That looks really cool. It's like definitely like a fresher take on the Metroidvania stuff, which is crazy considering how close of a return to form it is. It does genuinely feel fresher.
Yeah, and I do have to love the little nod to the Castlevania cover.
Oh yeah.
From the artwork on it, I love that. So.
Oh yeah, so yeah, no, it's really coming along, and they actually have their first like demo build now, and like a little prototype cartridge. So it's coming up quick.
That's awesome.
So definitely keep an eye out for that. I'll be ordering it once it goes live. So the man does good shit.
So Jim, before we hop into our Patreon questions, let me first give a big thank you to Michael Soto and Leo for signing up. We really appreciate you guys. Make sure get your questions in and get your game requests in if you're at that tier. So we, once again, really appreciate it, guys.
Yep, for sure. Please check your messages. Get us your rewards because we don't want to feel like we're just robbing people here. We try, damn it.
It's all right, but so what we got from our awesome patrons?
All right, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 per month, you can ask a question and we'll answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. So, first up from Game Whisperer Dean. If Taco Bell opened up a gaming division, which gaming franchise would they resurrect and why?
Pepsi Man? I don't know.
When he said gaming division, do you mean like taking like the KFC like gimmick route, where they're like, we're gonna have a Raspberry Pi that you can put chicken grease in?
I'm glad you just said that, by the way, because we talked about that before. I want to know where the hell that thing is, and I want to know.
That shit ain't real, bro. They got you.
Oh, motherfucker.
No, man, I have no idea. I would doubt if it's fucking real. Like, no, like whoever, I don't know what the FDA version of consoles is, but they would not let that go on the market. Like, yeah, put food, put something flammable in this thing that generates heat.
Well, you're just keeping it warm. You're not keeping it heating up from scratch. You're not going to have a small grease fire, not a big one.
Yeah, so the Twitter ad would tell you.
The only thing I'll say, Slime, is Nintendo convinced people to buy cardboard. That's, there's stupid shit that people buy all the time. So would I believe someone would try to buy something that keeps your fried chicken warm while you're playing a game? I'd believe it. Jim buys stupid shit all the time. Yeah, that's right.
Oh, yeah. Speaking of moving my camera and fucking up my setup over here, you could see the walls and endless bullshit on the ground right now. My big game room is a disaster out here right now, so I'm a sucker. But yeah, and to answer the question, maybe they can like get like the old Cool Spot games, but somehow I don't know. Mountain Dew needs like a Baja Blast mascot, so they need to make a mascot to make a platformer that's like Cool Spot. That's what they need to do.
Because Taco Bell is like they're like a Pepsi establishment, right?
Yes, they are. Yep.
They fall under Yum Foods, like, and all that shit. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, probably Cool Spot, but I could also like honestly, the only thing I could see is them tapping into like the Kickstarter, GoFundMe, like 16-bit reboot shit, where they're like, "Hey, we got a console and we're reviving the Yokiero dog or whatever. Just gonna make like a dog shit platformer with it." Mm-hmm. I don't know if they would really revive anything.
Do a Metal Gear Solid clone with the dog sneaking around getting people Taco Bell, like old Sneak King from the Xbox 360.
Yeah, like that shit that came in the box. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know, man. They probably have some remnants of whatever division was responsible for outsourcing that.
Would it be? Well, it's definitely not too soon, but just do the old Frogger and do it with the Chihuahua dog that got hit by the car.
Yeah, no, it's the perfect taste.
Good one, Dean. Always making us think outside the box. Next up from Burn Retinas. During the 7th gen, companies like Rockstar and Capcom have used games like Bully and Dark Sector as litmus tests for their game engines on bigger projects like GTA and Resident Evil. Mm-hmm. But do games like those two deserve a chance at establishing a new franchise with sequels?
You're goddamn right they do.
They really do. I was going to say
they remastered Bully for every series since then. Like that was a PS2.
Yeah, but that's what exactly, but that's fucking like that's meaningless at this point. That's like re-releasing Skyrim. Like give us something new. We only have one game of this thing that people are obsessed with and invest themselves in and like love the world of. The same thing with every Rockstar game. It's like a perfect period piece. Like why would you not?
Yeah, and Bully, obviously, you just do him going to college. Or, you just do the next step of, like, that was such a well-received game. And that was a game I slept on a long time. Played it many years after, and I was like, God damn, this really is really good.
Yeah, it's so tuned in.
Yeah, so I absolutely think they should. And I think it's unfortunate because, obviously, they're going to focus their energy only on GTA or Red Dead, and that's going to be it. But, yeah, Bully is a deserving candidate to get some love. Who knows if we'll ever see it. Then again, because of how it was back in the day, I don't know if they'll get away with the same sense of humor and everything nowadays. And
certainly will, dude. Rockstar is like Quentin Tarantino for games in the sense that like now it's such a legacy position that they could put whatever they thought would have been funny now as they would have thought was funny in like 2013 or whenever GTA 5 come out. Like they will automatically get that pass.
I would
and it will buy too. Like it'll sell. Like it's not going to sell.
Yeah.
And even if they don't, like, I don't think they've ever shied away from controversy. There's no such thing as bad press, boys.
This is true.
Actually, speaking of, I got to hit on something real quick. So why did like a town manager or something call you Slim the Garbage Man in like some kind of like
Yeah,
like
man.
official statement or some shit? Like, what did you do?
No, yeah, no, he's pulling the Nardwar on me. Goddamn. No, that's like, I don't know, it's some local MLA who I had done a show with the gentleman I had mentioned earlier, Nemo and Vince the Messenger, at a local spot, and I guess he was in the crowd. And as local folks often like to make a habit of doing, just absolutely slaughtered my name. For some reason, got brought up in like a publicly streamed hearing. A friend of mine that like works close to that, he sent this to me. He was like, "Dude, check this out." So I have no
I was at
idea
this
exactly what
Slim
the
Man
context
Garbage
was.
show, and it was fantastic.
And I had a good night. Slim the Garbage Man was like, man, even you had time to look that up after. I don't know.
Those silent E's get you.
I couldn't tell you, but I did see that guy not long after. I gave him the little right hand salute.
Nice. All right, next up from Gamer Astral, Power Hour featuring Alex Jones. When? God, I could only wish.
Jim, get whoring.
Oh, I'll whore. I'll just tell him the globalists are being channeled through our show, and he has to come stop them. I want to see him burst through the wall like the Kool-Aid Man doing that shit.
Jim, I did just catch 3 frogs in my pool earlier, so you know.
Oh, Brian.
You gonna back him up, make him gay?
Yep, exactly.
Yes, you better believe.
Alex, you're right. What?
God, that would be good. I mean, you can't go wrong. Ratings.
Yeah.
But next up, from Alex Perez, any upcoming movie releases that for the rest of 2021 that you are looking forward to? Got to go with Ghostbusters and Jackass Forever on my end.
What about you, Slime? Anything you can think of?
I mean, nothing against your patrons, but I can't think of any 2 things I'd want to see less. I'm trying to open up. As long as we're touching on Ghostbusters, when the fuck did it get unanimously decided that is like a high fantasy like action fucking franchise? Because they played that like it's like Lord of the Rings or some shit, bro. Like, imagine if they did that for Meatballs or something that was like of the same caliber.
Yeah. No, it's taken on a weird life of its own. I think, unfortunately, you'll see a lot of shit from the 80s get that treatment. But while you're thinking, I mean, my easy always go-to are the end of the year when the new Resident Evil movie comes out, Halloween Kills, and
that's for me too.
Yeah, and the new Candyman, which actually comes out, I think, later this week. And I forget if it's Jordan Peele doing that or if he's just producing. But
I think he's producing.
Yeah, I loved Candyman as a kid, so I'm all for this.
Yeah, much like with games, I'm terrible at looking ahead, doing any kind of research or caring. So I'll see it like a week before it comes out and go, oh, that looks cool.
Jim,
like,
I was going to say, when was the last time you've even watched a new movie?
That is a good question. I don't know when the last time I watched a newish movie was. I will have to get back to you next week on that because I really can't fucking tell you.
You know what? Speaking of movies that are coming out, Don't Breathe 2. I don't know if either of you watched the first Don't Breathe.
They're making another
I
one?
did.
They
Why?
are.
Why?
I don't know.
You gotta stop making 2 of things that clearly are one single 3-act narrative. There is no need of it.
No, he didn't. Remember? At the end of 1, the chick was watching the TV, and he's like on a stretcher. And
oh, yeah, when she's filling him with the stuff. Yeah.
When
That's
she
right,
turkey basted him.
Leave it ambiguous. I'd like to imagine what the second one would be like. I don't want to see it because it's just such... Sequelitis has just plagued fucking Western media for decades and decades now. But, like, I don't want to... Like, I like Don't Breathe. Don't Breathe is a good movie.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't need to see...
Don't Breathe 2.
Don't Breathe 2. I don't need to see Knives Out 2. There's so many shit I don't need to see 2 or 3 of.
Wait,
like,
are they making a Knives Out 2?
Yes, dude.
Oh, God damn it.
Netflix got Rian Johnson in the bag for like 2 more sequels to that. They want to. Everything has to be a trilogy because it's. I don't know. I don't want to keep ranting, but yeah. As far as stuff I'm excited for this year, Halloween Kills. I'm looking forward to. I really liked how, the 2018 one was handled. It feels like the first it feels like the first honest to God like good reimagining of that franchise in a long time. I don't know how you guys feel about Rob Zombie, but no one should have ever let that guy touch a camera.
I like.
Yeah, no, bro, he's dog
I can't
shit.
take his movies. I can't.
No, exactly. But that's what I mean. Like, I only like his music in like a parody context of like an ironic context. Why would you ever put him behind a camera and could be like, I remember the 70s when you could watch a woman get raped on the camera. I want to do that again. Like, it's total hack. But
in every movie with my wife, it's like, oh,
yeah,
good.
Exactly.
Now she's starring in half of them.
Yeah.
But yeah, Halloween Kills I think is going to be good. I'm also looking forward to big time the Sopranos movie, Many Saints of Newark.
Oh yeah, definitely same here.
Yeah, as well as Last Night in Soho, the new Edgar Wright. I almost said Edward Norton.
Yep.
And Green Knight, which just came out, but I can't find anywhere locally that's showing it.
Yeah, I hear that. Isn't that also on, what do you call it? It's not
I thought
on any
it's
streaming.
streaming. I thought it is
Like
streaming
HBO?
somewhere, maybe the same time as it being out. But I keep seeing. I feel like it is HBO. Like I keep seeing shit on HBO Max. I feel like it might be available.
For Green Knight?
I think so. Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure that it is like the same way everything is now, but I mean, like, as far as A24 is concerned, I think those are movies that I just would rather experience in a theater. People, did I cut you off earlier, Brian? What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say fuck. Now
The Sopranos movie.
Yeah. So The Sopranos. It's funny. I've since seeing that trailer, I've gone back. I almost have a yearly thing where I rewatch The Sopranos because it is my favorite show. And
Proper thing. Yes, sir. That's so good to hear.
And now I'm like up to, and I know Jim, this will pass over your head, but I'm into season 4 now, and it's just a show. Like I don't care how many times I watch it, I pick up just a little something new every time.
Oh, every time. Yeah.
And it's just like I feel bad when people are like, "Oh, I've never watched this" or something. I'm like, just do yourself a favor. I'm not trying to overhype it. Just watch it. Watch a few episodes, see if it's for you. But yeah.
Dude, that's the thing. It's for everybody, regardless of how you feel about the content or how you feel about like the portrayal of the mafia or Italians or whatever. On a writing perspective,
Yeah.
on a conceptual perspective, it is a perfect show.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's parts of the show, not even just like the dream, like the test stream and stuff like that, but there's parts of the show that approach like Lynchian and like so high concept, it's mind-boggling that this is supposed to be like billed as a gangster show.
Yeah.
And I won't spin off to a tangent about that, but yeah, no, you're completely right. Like it is, yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. It's one of those. It's why I took such a hard stance. Even though I liked Breaking Bad, when people were like, "That's a great show ever," I was like, "It's not." Like it took derivative of a lot of things Sopranos did.
Oh, big time.
And I'm like, don't get me wrong, it was a good show, but it's like more newer generation who never got to see The Sopranos. I'm like, just go back and watch that, and then we'll talk. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's when like the television was then considered like on the same medium, like the same like level of artistry as film was. I feel like that, like they were like not that they pioneered television, it was in fucking 1999, but like like with HBO, like just like with the budget, the level of like expertise and writing that went into it, like it really like elevated television as a medium.
Sir Arliss,
you calm
over my head.
You calm that down, Jim. No, with The Sopranos had this. Yeah, it hit this point where at one point that Oz and The Wire were all on at the same time, and those were all.
It's like a golden era.
That's a fucking night of television, bro.
Yeah, you're like, holy shit, and now we get nothing. So, it is what it is. No, but great movie choices though. I like those.
Yeah, no, I do want to see Pig because I hear it's like the first time
Yeah.
like ages that someone like actually reined in Nicolas Cage into a good performance instead of just being like, all right, be a meme for like an hour and a half. So.
Yeah, and it's so great when people like actually treat him like the fucking thespian that he is. Like he's an amazing actor when people give him the right material.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he's great, but everyone just wants him to be like, what the fuck was the one with the bees? God damn it.
Man. Wicker Man.
Wicker Man, yeah.
No, but
Everyone's just like,
then
oh,
he
just
was
do
in-
that.
Yeah, he was in Mandy and the what was the thing? It was like Five Nights at Freddy's,
Willy's Wonderland.
Willy's Wonderland, where he didn't say a word.
He didn't have a lick of dialogue.
Yeah.
Which was hilarious because you can tell like, oh, he definitely has something in his closet about like how many lines he charges per.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely underrated. He's underappreciated.
Especially in this day and age. Mm-hmm. But last up from Phony Montana. I tried to watch WWE recently and had to turn it off after a few minutes because it's so damn boring and lame. I can watch clips on YouTube from the 90s and early 2000s and it's still genuinely entertaining and hilarious from back in the day. Do you think it will ever be cool in the mainstream again like it was during the Attitude Era?
Probably not.
It won't because the wrestlers are on Twitter and you see what they're like way too much. and it just ruins the entire, like, not even like with kayfabe, because kayfabe's been dead for like 30 years anyway. But you could still like be like, oh, that's the character that I can root for. Or, like, this is the badass guy. But now it's like, guy's a badass on TV, but then he goes on Twitter and he whines that someone said a mean tweet to him. So it's like, that just kills that.
They all have to operate in the duality of, like, yeah, they have their personas and they have their written characters, but, like, online they have to be just as marketable in a different sense because, like, the marketing teams are tapped into that. Like, oh, no, you get on Twitch with Xavier Woods, like, you do this. Like, you have to operate as an influencer as well as a performer in the ring, which I agree, like, just because, really just because of the times we live in, it's no fault of the industry. It's just, it devalues, what goes on in the ring for me.
Wait, are you guys saying it's not real? What's going on here?
No.
We're pulling your leg. We're doing a bit.
Oh, okay, good. Woo.
Yeah, no.
I got worried there for a second. Holy shit. It's been dead since, we've said it how many times? Early 2000. It might have had tiny revivals, but yeah, it's just one of those things. Maybe with AEW, I know that's gaining a lot of traction.
Well, I mean, they're absorbing all their fucking talent because they're real. Like, everyone's just getting. It's crazy to me how many people are leaving now because they're like, hey, this McMahon guy maybe doesn't have my best interests at heart.
Yeah. I think that'll be the only interesting story is if somehow that truly takes down WWE. Like, that would be the thing that everyone, like, would want to be a part of and watching all of a sudden if it, like, not like you had these weird-ass accounts that for some reason decide to post the side-by-side views. I'm saying, like, more legit truly taking over. Then people would start tuning in more. But until then, it's not, AEW.
It's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, most people are looking at AEW like, oh, it's a cute trick until it wears out.
Oh, it is slowly not becoming a cute trick, dude. Like,
that's what needs to happen, yeah.
Exactly. Like, I can see in the next 10 years, like, if the trend we're on now continues, because the big thing is, like, the only reason WWE was kept alive is because of their reputation and because new blood would always come in and go just starry-eyed, be like, I want to be on TV wrestling, and WWE is the only game in town. Right. But if AEW can create a legacy, that will slowly not be the case anymore, and people realize, like, oh, if I want to be treated ethically and I want to get the same kind of pull, I can put my stock in this, and also just by virtue of me being there, gradually, like, elevate it. Yeah. And people want to watch it more and more because that's where I am and that's where my coworkers are.
And that's where you'll get the best out of WWE. Like, they'll be forced to change because of true competition. It's like they haven't had a true competitor since when?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And I mean, with all the steroids Vince has shoved into his neck over the years, like, he can't have that much longer left. Like, he's
fuck no.
I know he's a health freak, but, like, there's gonna be a day where his heart just goes, nope, done, sick, turn it off. Like, that's the only time we're gonna see, like, actual change. Not that I'm wishing harm on the guy.
Oh no, I absolutely am. That man is actually evil. I don't know how much of that trait carries on in Shane or whatever successor he feels like handing that mantle down to, but I don't know. Time will tell.
I don't think Hunter's going to be the show must go on after someone falls from the top of the ceiling kind of guy. So yeah. I think there's hope there, depending on who gets the reins.
Yeah, I hope for better. I always want more competition between things because it drives the best. That's at the end of the day, but we'll see. But no, that is a great question. I think you still got some time though before wrestling truly becomes mainstream. Like, and that's if it ever can.
Yeah, and that's like what we said before, like when people are like, oh, there should be no such thing as console exclusives. I'm like, if everything's under one platform, us wrestling fans, we've been living through that for 20 years. Trust us, you don't want that.
Yeah.
You want to have a little competition between the people.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, that wraps up the Patreon questions for this week. So everyone, thank you once again. And of course, if you're new to the show, listening on iTunes, please leave a 5-star review, even if you want to bash us. Hit that follow button on wherever you can. Unfortunately, there's no way to check numbers on Spotify or anything else, but, is what it is. So whatever you want to do to help out, we greatly appreciate it.
There might be, actually. I'll tell you about that after the show.
Oh, really? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Chambers. So you brought up this article, and it's something I'm friggin' shocked. It actually seems like it's happening, but the Polymega may actually launch on September 12th if they keep their dates straight.
Yep, they've had a number of well-published delays before, but yeah, I was actually had them on there with another article where they like put up a press release back in like early June with like, oh, we have a system update. So of course I was going to bring that on here and bash it because I was like, how are you how are you hyping a press release for a system update for something that hasn't been out and that's 2 years behind schedule? So I was all geared up, and all of a sudden, like 2 days ago, they're like, oh, official release date coming out. I was like, what? And yeah, it looks like, if all goes well, the backers will finally be getting it. Now, the people who will be getting their orders are ones who ordered before April 2020, I think was the go dead date. So after that, you're going to have to wait a couple more months. But yeah, I mean, it looks like it's finally happening. Good on them, I guess, for now, if it happens.
Any predictions, fellas, of how well it operates?
Last minute delay.
I have no idea what this is. Is this like an Ouya situation?
No, it's a little better than that. So basically, like, it's a base unit that has a CD drive, and it's like an emulator. So, like, you can put in your disc, and it'll, like, recognize what disc you're putting in there and boot up, basically any system, like Neo Geo CD, Saturn, which was a big deal, shit like that. So, it's actually, like, kind of cool in practice, and you can, like, pop in, you can buy separate modules to use your cartridges for, like, NES games or Super NES, TurboGrafx, all that shit. Now, I think all the modules in the base unit itself is pretty overpriced for just being an emulator box, but it is, like, a pretty cool concept. I think it's, like, 400 some bucks for just, like, the base unit.
I'd love to know what the legalities of that are. Probably something similar to, GameCin or PlayCin, whoever the fuck produced that, turn your phone into a Game Boy attachment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's just like the Retron 5 and things like that.
Retron.
Yeah,
yeah.
Because I think at the end of the day, you can get away with it because you're still promoting. You need the physical game. So you can't play it unless you have... So like Jim said, the base unit, you can do Saturn, PlayStation, Sega CD, TurboGrafx CD, and Neo Geo CD. So in theory, it's not like any form of promoting piracy because now you're saying if you don't got the game, you can't actually play it.
Yeah.
Anyone who has a Retron, though, like I do, I can tell you right now, it's the easiest thing in the world. You fill an SD with all ROMs. You put a patch on your current CD or like disc or cartridge you have, and you can play every game off that one disc. I doubt it'll be that easy.
Allegedly, shut the fuck up.
Jim, are they going to come after the Retron 5 now?
That adds up to me. I hadn't really... Well, I mean, I haven't thought about it much at all, but I suppose that's a similar situation to... have you heard of a service called Plex before?
No. What's that?
Yeah. So, okay, well, this will interest you guys then. It's probably Brian as well, because there's so many horror movies you, like, have to torrent it a necessity in order to watch them at all now. It's a streaming service that you provide the content for off of a cloud server. And the idea is like, oh, well, you have to ethically get a hold of this content of like your MP4s or your MK. Yeah, exactly. Or just whatever file format you use to stream them. But like all in all, what it is just like, it's a really accessible, like neat, like pleasant looking way to stream anything that you've torrented. Like I like have an entire computer set aside specifically to just hold all of these like film catalogs. But yeah, it seems like a similar situation, just like ethically.
So it's called Plex?
Yeah, it rocks.
I will definitely... Look, dude, can you talk about, being a horror collector of anything? I spent way too much money on a friggin' Dead Alive DVD because it's so rare fucking print. Dude. So I was like, God damn it, but I want it.
And that's the thing is, like, and I like owning that stuff because, like any other, fucking white guy in my 20s, I love just having shit around my house.
Oh, naturally.
But like, I'm looking at my shelf here now, and I think everything on the shelf I've watched or played at least once. But I'm looking, it's just like, if I want to watch Driller Killer, I will probably not dig it out of the shelf. Like, I'm more apt to like download the torrent like I'm putting food in a microwave, and when it's ready I'll watch it.
Oh, dude, I've done the ultimate lazy. If like the wife and I are watching like whatever horror movie, and I'm like, well, I do have it over there as a Blu-ray or DVD, or we could rent it for $3.99 right now. I'm like, I don't feel like getting up right now. So yeah, it is. But like most dudes in our generation, we have that mentality, like, one day it might not be available digitally because you didn't save it. It could go away, so we just need that physical thing for whatever reason. I don't think the new generation is like that at all. I think that's still just with us.
No, exactly. And like I have obviously a strong appreciation for physical media still, but like I mean, just for ease of access, just for the sake of viewing and experiencing a film, like it works out just as easy.
Yeah.
If it means something to me, I will definitely go out of my way to find it.
Now, let me ask you, being a gamer and stuff, and Jim, same question goes to you. We've talked about but if this comes out, the Polymega operates well. I've said my big thing holding me back from ever wanting to get a legit Sega Saturn or some of these other systems, half the time they don't work. They're going to be way too expensive. If this is all-in-one and you could just play games off that, would that entice you at all to maybe get one of these?
I kind of want one now. I just don't want to spend $400 for the base unit. Like, the only one I really need would be the CD one because, like, I have a Sega CD, but it's broken. I have... I have a CDI, but God knows how long that has left to last. Like, shit like that. So, like, the CD drive systems are the ones that are more prone to failing way quicker. So, just that alone, I think there's a lot of value. But then again, like, at this point, like, the last thing I need is another console to collect for. So, like, I would love to collect for the Saturn, but I am already priced out of that shit. But luckily now they have, like, the multi-optical drive emulator. I think that's what MODE stands for. Basically, it's a big, like, you can crack open your Saturn, put in the flash cart, like, drive basically, and then play basically the ROMs off that flash card but off the real hardware. So it's almost, basically just as good, just not using a CD.
See, now that shit, I don't know how that would be legal.
I mean, the legality is you can build any kind of system you want. It's the ROMs that make it illegal. So now if you rip your own ROMs, then, all good. But then if you just get it from a torrent site, debatable.
Yeah. I suppose it's the same as like you can order all the pieces of a gun, but you can't just like get the certain gun in certain places.
Yeah, you're like, what do you mean? What do I need a barrel for? Don't worry about it.
I just want to have it around.
Yeah, come on.
No, I love guns without barrels. Don't worry, I'll be good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think we're that generation too. That like back in like 2008, like we all like got BitTorrents and like we all destroyed our first like laptop by just downloading every single ROM that ever existed at the time, which is like seems to be like I know they're still out there and you can still get them, but people like Nintendo make it a little bit harder, and just kids don't like torrent these days either, from what I've seen.
Well,
so,
why would you?
Yeah.
You know what? This is where an industry saw something happening instead of just always bitching about it. They said, we're going to make it so easy to stream, rent, and get this that there's no excuse. So, like me, a $3.99 to rent a movie I just want to see and I don't really need. Okay, that's a price point I'm comfortable with. Music was the same way. Like, once iTunes was like, spend $1 to get the song you really want. You're like, do I really want to get on my computer and download this, or do I want to pay that $1 or something? It's that was a smart move on their part. I'll say that.
And that's where it comes down to, how much do you care about supporting an artist, and like, and in terms of that, like, which artist do you want to support? Like, because if someone's on a label, I feel absolutely no shame at all in like going and stealing the record. This is like pre like Spotify and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Whenever I was like going on MediaFire and like going getting like death metal albums from 1992 that like you can't find anywhere, just from like Spanish blogs and shit. But I mean, at that time I was like, I have no remorse about this. I'm supporting it by listening to it and telling people about it. So it still exists. But I mean now, just by virtue of like that same thing that I would have like had to scrounge to download and put on my computer in a RAR file, I can now just find on Spotify just as easy, and you're supporting everyone across the board.
Exactly.
But what you're saying about streaming and ease of access is hilarious, because you're right, they finally did crack the nut on that problem. But the funniest part about it is Netflix was an answer to cable television.
Yep.
And it's just like, hey, this is all dog shit. You don't need to spend all this money to get a bunch of channels you don't even watch. Just pay, this nominal small fee, and we'll get to stuff that you probably do want, and we'll cater it to you. And then everyone else is like, good idea.
Exactly.
Yeah. Oh, dude. I remember those 6 months where cutting the cord was a good idea, and you're like, oh, I'm paying less than half of what I was paying before. I'm getting exactly what I want. And then, like you said, everyone got the same idea, and now it's like, I think I'm paying more now than I was before. The fuck
Streaming
happened?
services just become channels,
that's
individually packaged.
Yeah. And it will get to the point where literally there's nothing prepackaged on television, and you'll hope somebody can just bundle all that shit together like the old television.
Yeah.
It'll come in.
I'm sure they'll.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, I'm sure that something will come along that's kind of like a consolidation loan for all your streaming services, which will be the next iteration of that thing.
Yeah.
But, God knows what's next coming. We'll just plug it into our goddamn brains.
Well, I mean,
right.
that's the thing is right now you figure you got Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus, HBO, like, yeah, $7, $5, it keeps adding up, and then somebody will come along and be like, all right, $50, you get these 10 streaming channels. And you'll be like, oh, I saved $3 a month, but I'm locked in. Okay, cool. I'll just do it. It's one of those. Yeah, man. They figure it out. Competition, unfortunately, it will drive that. Like, I realized how ridiculous it was. I was like, WWE's getting its own network. I was like, does it really need that shit? And
you want to know what sucks? That is so unbelievably inaccessible in Canada. That's the reason I stopped
really?
watching wrestling. Is because I got sick of torrenting, like, Raw and SmackDown just like on a weekly basis, because if I forget to go and manually do it, I don't watch it. So I was like, well, fuck this. Hey, there's a WWE network. Let's take a stab at that. Unless you have a cable package, you can't even access the network.
wow.
Yeah, that's
And
how
you can
Canada
al-
works. And it's funny, too, now, because now it's gone full circle, because in the United States, they sold the network to Peacock. So that's the only way you can get the network, and they took, like, I don't know, a shitload of content off it, probably at least 50% for, content reasons and crap like that.
Yeah, all the Pillman, all the Benoit.
Yeah, the Katie Vicks, stuff like that, the minor things. So, like, now Canada has the network, kind of. It's just a pain in the balls to get. In America, we don't even really have it anymore. So it's just like, man, they made their money off that, and then they, like, sold it for $10 billion or whatever the fuck it was. And it's like, oh, okay, that was fun, I guess.
Yeah. No, but, I mean, at the end of the day, I want Polymega. I want this to be a thing that actually works because there were so many backers. I want those people to get their value out of what they've been waiting for. And I'm strongly considering it, like you, Jim. I want to have something that can play Saturn games so I can collect, but I don't really want to dive headfirst into collecting for that shit either. So it'll be something we'll watch, and when it comes out, I'm sure we'll see every YouTuber with a I got a Polymega face. That fucking face. Yeah, exactly, Slime.
Wow, so pog. I can't believe how much mileage we've gotten at hard drive out of just that face alone and all of the bits you can derive from that.
Dude, exactly.
The classic YouTuber face, or now that meme of, like, coming from the chicken guys, like,
Yeah, just like all the soy dudes.
Yep, exactly. Oh, speaking of...
Wojaks are hieroglyphics at this point.
Jim, I applaud you for this next article, and I'm going to fully let you just run with it, because this is a truly weird gaming... I don't even know if item's the right word, but...
Well, I can't take all the credit, because a buddy of the page, Tighe Lory, he turned me on to it, so...
Oh, I bet he did.
Things happened. But, so an old recurring bit that we never get to do enough is weird gaming items. And speaking of Justin Wang from earlier, he just had a video talking about the Mario porno parodies. Well, it turns out Atari beat them to the punch about 20 years beforehand. Because back in the 70s, somehow one of the people who worked there finagled them into not only putting the money towards producing a porno to be part of that craze, they also hosted it at Atari's headquarters, and allegedly, some employees are in the orgy scenes. So
Oh, delightful. Back in the Wild West of gaming, boys.
Yeah, that's, I read that article, and I just go, like, have you guys, either of you, watched the documentaries on Atari? Or, like, there's been a ton of video game documentaries, and a lot of them do talk about Atari and those crazy days of, early development. It's one of those weird things where you just go, I'm not shocked, but I'm shocked I haven't heard more people talk about this before.
yeah, because this comes to us from WordPress blog by the Retro Bitch. So you have made a fan today. Man, you have made a fan.
I gotta say, I gotta commend that URL to just
Retro Bitch.
getting up, logging on to retrobitch.com.
Yeah.
There's no sugarcoating what you're finding here. So it's fucking great. But yeah, apparently, and she also, the kind soul she is, she included a link to X Hamster where you can watch it if you want to. So yeah, apparently she watched it, so we don't have to.
Jim, how many times have you watched it?
I haven't watched it yet. This is actually the one time I wish I did some prep work, but maybe I can do some posthumous prep work on this one, Brian. So,
We can get a little middle school sleepover action going, and everyone just streaming at once.
I want to sit in the chair now. No, I want to sit in the chair.
All right, lights off, blankets on. What are you guys doing?
No, dude, stop looking. Dude. But yeah, so basically, yeah, apparently it's terrible, and the orgy scene contains the people who work there. So they're the one. If you see one's looking really awkward on camera, it's probably someone who works at Atari. So someone who worked on friggin' Adventure, or maybe Beat 'em and Eat 'em for all we know. That'd probably make more sense.
Yeah, Custer's Revenge.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's one of those, if it is true, I would love, like, at this point, though, you got to figure the people who were working there, they're so old now. Like, wouldn't you just at this point kind of admit, like, yeah, we did it. Who cares?
I don't know. Oh, I mean, they certainly didn't shy away from it, dude. Like,
Yeah.
they, like, I don't know, like I was saying, like, I made a joke of it earlier, but it truly was, like, a Wild West medium at that point. And they also, like, were the Nintendo of their era. Like, they had the whole thing cornered. If they wanted to make porn and video games, there wasn't anyone really to challenge them and tell them, like, hey, that's, like, improper practice. Like, there was no, like ratings board or anything at the time that, like, that would, critique their business or punish them for it. But, yeah, what I was just going to say was that I was shocked. This was 78. I'm shocked that, there isn't really a wide berth between that and, like, when Sword Quest was, like, conceptualized, which is so fucked to think about.
Yeah. It,
Some guys on set getting a finger in the ass and going, I should make a competition between 4 different games. Genius idea.
hey,
When we're talking about the sword in the stone, I can tell you where I got that idea, but I don't want to talk about it.
Yep. Yeah. Jim, this was, well, who sent this to us?
Our buddy Tighe.
Tighe,
So,
all right.
I think I said his name right.
No, thank you, bud. That is a great, and anyone out there who hears weird gaming shit, weird gaming items, please send it along, because I love hearing about it, and I know Jim, that's everything he lives for.
And actually, speaking of being a fan of physical media, this almost seems like something maybe we should all have in the collection. Maybe just me alone. Maybe I'll add it next to my Atari shelf. It seems like that kind of thing that no one else with an Atari shelf goes with.
Oh, yeah.
They're like, oh, I have air raid. Oh, do you now? Well, I have.
Let me take you behind the beaded curtain where I have this one VHS.
Let me take you behind the swinging bar doors that like only go up this high.
And I do love the name, Jim, without looking at the article, unless you have it right in front of you. What is the name of the porno?
I just closed it. Shit. It was like, what, a Cadillac or something?
A Cadillac named Desire. Because I just opened up the X Hamster link, and while you were talking, I had to take a peek.
Yeah,
It's not the high. It's not the greatest quality. I'll say that.
It's what you would expect. Well, look, Brian. Like I grew up finding my dad's stash of stuff in the '70s, so I'd probably feel right at home there. It'd probably be a little nostalgic.
Damn it, Jim. Damn it.
What?
Don't say what. You know what.
What? So I could time a VCR down to the exact second with rewind. What?
You son of a bitch. Alrighty. Alright, so this week we only have one of our reoccurring bits. It's something I threw up here. I don't think we've ever covered it, Jim, but we've talked in generalities.
I don't think we have.
So, Slime, what we do is we always kind of pick a topic and we say, which is better between these two things? It could be characters, game genres, music, it doesn't matter. But this week, I'd thrown this up here and I said shmups or first-person shooters. Obviously, just both gun games, shooter games, whatever you want to call it. Two drastically different styles. But, I'm obviously not going to say which is more popular because that probably wouldn't be fair. So I'll just say, which do you guys think is better? And
I do, just to cut you off real quick,
Yeah.
Bri. Like, I do love when we get the occasional comment when they're like, well, what do you mean which is better? Do you mean better in this sense or better in that? It's not that serious.
Yeah,
Just which one?
Yeah.
Which one do you like better? What do you think's better?
it's a gut feeling. It's like, yeah, there's not a right answer. This is just, what do you think is better? So, Slime, you're the guest. We'll let you start. Which one do you like better?
Between FPS and shmups.
Yeah.
personally, I've definitely played more FPSs as someone who was born in 1996 in the Western world. You like naturally are, unless like you have a certain proclivity to get into like all that Toho shit or whatever.
Yeah.
So I'd say personally, just because I mean we were talking about Fallout earlier, whereas that is an RPG, it still technically is an FPS.
Yeah.
And it's just like there is such a wide range of what that genre is capable of because it's just a medium. Like, just having like that point perspective with like a gun like this, that doesn't really lock it into being a Call of Duty or a Battlefield like a lot of people would assume when they hear that. It's like when people hear, you know, horror movies, they're gonna think like Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees, but that's, you know, that's like a banner. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
So I think personally, I'd have to say I prefer FPSs just because of like the dearth of what's available. But I would say that shmups often take a much more ambitious and artistic avenue with that because, I mean, it's just so applicable to so much stuff. I mean, like, the biggest thing I can think of in the last few years is Undertale and, like, how heavily that incorporates, you know, shmups and the tactics and mechanics of shmups into it. And there's just, like, numerous other just, like, complete weirdo left field games that incorporate it.
Okay. What about you, Chambers?
I mean, if you say gun to my head, I'm gonna say it's kind of like what Slime says. Like, FPSs are just so they're accessible too. Like, you can have like the mainstream ones, like the Call of Duties, or even you can have the more platforming ones, like the new Dooms have been, or you can have the ones out of like, you know, the cold hits, like the RPG ones, like Borderlands or Bulletstorm that never got the chance that it should have because it's great. So, I mean, I've played so many goddamn FPSs, but like right now, I would probably be more inclined to play a shmup just because I didn't get into them until maybe 3 years ago, and like that's been like the one genre that like I've been digging into more than anything else. Like, the genre kicks my ass, and I'm terrible at them, but like I still love jumping from game to game and seeing like the little different. Like, if you play a shooter, you pretty much a shmup, you pretty much know what you're gonna get, whether or not it's, you know, vertical or horizontal, but it's still just like they all have their little like charm and like feel to them that just makes them their own. So, God damn it!
I just realized you have Galaga behind you as you're making this argument. I forgot about that.
I do. Luckily, I got a flash sale on Walmart from that too. So yeah, if it wasn't for that, I wasn't going to pay $130 for this, but for $50, fuck yeah. So, but yeah, no, I mean, like, yeah, I think overall, I gotta say FPSs are better, but I right now, like, if you're gonna say what am I gonna pick up right now between the two, I would definitely pick one of my shmups to sit down with.
Sure. Yeah, I think I'll say right off the bat, I go FPS all the way, only because with shmups, like you just said, at the end of the day, like, especially because so many tend to lean towards that bullet hell style anymore, it's like, how insane can we make it? You almost don't care about the game itself is like secondary. The mechanic of dodge bullet, shoot enemy is just so ingrained. And yeah, you can have some of them with like more interesting powers or whatnot. And sometimes they have good music, but like of all the retro style games, shmups, I feel like you're not even hearing it because you're so focused in on the exact action. Whereas FPSs, you're like more in the game, in the action. And not saying there's not plenty that are very samey, like we've just mentioned. I just found myself always more like able to appreciate the full scale of the game versus shmups. I couldn't tell you the difference between like you name 20 shmups from Nintendo. I'll be like, oh yeah, which one is that? I'll confuse them all the time because I'm like, aren't they all kind of the same? So yeah, I'll go FPS with that. But that's also where I lean the most anymore. So yeah. I want to see what you guys think though. If you're listening,
I want to see like a real argument for like, because I mean, like, the real argument you could say is like they're it almost seems like they take more chances with shmups too, though. Like,
oh yeah,
like that seems to be like you do know what you're gonna get going into it, but like I'm actually gonna disagree. I'll say like for the most part, the music in most shooters are fucking fantastic.
Oh yeah, dude, especially shmups, bro. Like, I mean, FPS is like it's a lot more about, because they're so story driven now. It's a lot either story driven or just like online based.
Driven.
Period.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. It's like it takes such a total backseat. It's just like atmosphere. But I mean, shmups, just because of like how much of that is Eastern influence, like you know that they always have to put like their goddamn foot to the floor when it comes to music. And on top of that, just as what I was thinking as Brian was talking about his take with the shmups is that because like what you're saying, like, oh, they can get so samey, it can be such a wash because shoot, bullet, dodge, enemy. But I think that is such a rawly simple concept, in the same way that platformers are, that you will never get there will never be a shortage of things you can do with that idea, just because it's so simple. It's just like, that's like a flat piece of bread, and you can put whatever you fucking want on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, you can have your Super Mario, or you can have your Super Meat Boy. Like, you can go either way with that.
Here's what I will say.
Like bullet hell drives me fucking crazy, because like I don't have the attention span to like look at that much shit at one time.
Oh yeah, no, neither do I. Yeah.
But you give me like an Arizonk or a Thunder Force or shit like that, like I'm good. Like, or blazing lasers and crap like that. Like that perfect blend of like, a lot of shit on screen at once, but not where it's like filling up, and then God forbid you have the ones where it's bullet hell, but also collectathons where they burst into 10,000 coins and just come at you. I'm like, I don't even know how people play these. Like that's a level of concentration I can never get.
Well, and here's what I'll say. I think historically, and I could be wrong, someone's going to say I'm wrong, but shmups single player is the challenge. FPS is the multiplayer is like, it's such a different challenge, and I drive myself more, because at the end of the day, I'm not saying there's no such thing as an easy shmup, but you can easily learn a pattern, whereas when you're dealing with another human, you can hope you're predicting, but it truly is unpredictable. Like, every game is going to be completely like, you can't guess. Like, I could say Jim always camps, but maybe this game he's not going to camp. I don't know. Like, it's
well, there's a concept for you. Create the shmup that's PvP.
That's what I would love to see.
That probably exists somewhere.
I'm sure.
Oh,
yeah.
what the fuck is that called? There's one on the Switch. It's god. There is like, it's, imagine like Puyo Puyo, if you know that, or like Mean Bean Machine for you, Brian.
Yeah.
How like you can like send like lines to like crush your enemy and shit like that. There's a shmup like that. Oh, I can't remember the fucking name. I have it too. But like, you fight a computer, but like if you chain combos together along with like specials, you can chain throwing like 1,000 enemies or like side hazards to shoot at your enemy on the side of you. So like, it's actually like a really cool concept.
I would love though to see some type of, you're legit going against other people in a vertical shmup style, and you're each only getting a certain field of the entire map, but you are competing against each other. Like, that would be really, really interesting to me, because that would probably make me get more into it. I think also, I've always been the type, like, it's not that I have anything against, like, spaceships and planes or whatever the shooting mechanic is. The more, like, it feels more personal when it's a dude holding a gun versus just some random thing shooting lasers or whatever. Like,
that's a fair point.
Yeah, and like I said, to each his own. Like, some people, and I've done bullet hells, I can be fairly good at them, but I also, when I leave them, I always kind of go like, I'm glad I'm done with that. With FPSs, I usually, like, especially going multiplayer, I never fully walk away from it being like, fuck this game. Like, shmups, I will.
Yeah, exactly.
There is a sigh of relief. Oh yeah, it's called Rival Megagun. So if you got a Switch and you want a game like that, hit that up.
Jim, play me and I'll smoke you.
You probably fucking will. Just like, goddamn Tetris 99. I'll never live that down.
Yeah, man.
I've won it 10 times. I've never won it. And I'm the
bro, for real?
Tetris player. I've never fucking won it. I've been second a buttload of times.
No. Okay, here, I'm going to tell you something. Okay, when you're playing Tetris, you said, like, oh, like, I'm a pro Tetris player, like, I'm really good at it, whatever, right? You're playing, like, classic Tetris, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to get out of that mindset, because what you're doing is competing against people. So just a tip I'll leave you with, and we don't got to meander about this longer, but the biggest thing to remember is, like, every time you get a line, you're sending garbage lines to other people. And what your brain naturally wants to do when you're playing Tetris is just like, oh, I'll get like one, like I'll build it up and then just like slide my fucking like L blocks and my I blocks down the side. What you have to do is specifically, purposely make a really fucked up row with a bunch of holes in it. And as you figure that out, you can be like, okay, well, I'll just make this work. And as you get those lines, you're sending those non-linear fucked up lines to other people that they have to deal with.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be thinking the same way you would have thinking about it before. Because they're trying to like play the same way of like, oh, I'm going to do this, like everything's going to line up on the side, or like I'll have a gap in the middle, and I'll slide my line blocks down into it. But if they're getting these super fucked up lines with like, oh, there's a gap here, or there's like a whole like line of them missing here, you're getting like this big cookie cuttered fucked up thing that looks like Swiss cheese. You know what I mean?
Right.
So they're gonna have a much harder time trying to get around it. That's how you fuck people up.
Yeah, Jim, I've said many times, I know you're probably better at regular Tetris than me.
Right.
But I'm better at fucking with people.
You're
sending
better at 99
the shit.
than I am by far.
And it's one of those deals because I do it like kind of like what he's saying. Like I'm not always going for the full 4 or 5 line big block. I'm
That's
sending
wrong.
segments.
That's wrong.
Well, that's how you win.
Yeah, I know.
And I mean, not to say that doesn't work, because you can't hit combos with that, and like it'll like give them. I think how it works is like the higher combos that you get, like the less time that they'll have to react to it.
Right, before the big thing comes, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, no, that's something to keep in mind next time you take a stab at it.
Yeah,
Jim, you got to get one win. You know what we need to do?
I want one win so I can never turn it on the fuck again.
Jim, we need to just marathon you one night. Just you're playing until you win.
No, Slime, what do you call it? Like, I did a video about, like, my most played Switch games, and that's on there, and I said, I haven't fucking beaten the fucking game yet. Well, I just want to beat it so I never have to touch it again.
Well, Slime, it's because he talked a little bit of shit when he did get it, and he was like talking about...
I'm about to dummy these bitches.
I didn't even have a Switch, and he's like, oh, I'm playing this. I got number 2. I got number 3.
I was like, your punk ass will never win. You'll never do better than me. He got like 10 wins in his first month. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I would keep sending him pictures. He's like, that's bullshit. No, I don't believe you. You're
No,
going
you
to
play
Oh,
offline.
cool.
Cool.
If you don't believe me, you can just meet me on Tetris Maximus.
Exactly. Jim, don't be butthurt.
Oh, I'll be butthurt. like most things in life, I'll be butthurt more than I should be, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
Slime, before we head out and we do a little bit more promotion, I do got to ask you, watching a show right now, I wasn't really in tune to this dude, but as a rapper, I want to know, do you have any strong feelings of hate or like for Lil Dicky? Because I'm watching
For Little
Dave.
Dicky?
Yeah, I'm watching Dave right now.
Yeah, so when it comes to Little Dicky, like, what I remember him most from is that he's part of the XXL 2016 class, which for me is, like, legendary. Pretty much everyone from that. Like, for me, that was the last time that XXL was, like, a relevant point of, like, being a milestone in, like, an industry artist career. Because, like, Lil Yachty came out of that, Uzi Vert, Kodak Black, 21 Savage, people that are, like, massive now. Probably the most successful class since probably 2011 or even the early 2000s. But, you know, I think he was kind of I want to say the meme pick, because whereas he is very technically skilled, clearly, like, technical skill doesn't always, and he's a very funny guy. Like, he's a great writer, too.
Yeah.
Like, I've seen the show you're talking about, which I think he probably excels more so in that, just in terms of, like, the medium.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, I kind of take, like, what he's doing with a grain of salt. And, like, I would consider him, this is going to sound like a gross, you know, overstepping of the spectrum, but I would probably put him in the same category as Weird Al before I'd put him in the same category as someone like 21 Savage. You know what I mean?
Sure. No.
Because
I asked it not as a loaded question, like legit. Like, I'm watching Dave. I knew Lil Dicky same as you. Like, he's a joke. Like, not like that he's a joke, but like
But he's
funny
in on
shit.
his own joke. Yeah,
Exactly.
like he's making comedic parody music for entertainment.
Yeah.
I don't know who. Clearly, a lot of people did. I don't know who is sitting there listening to like that Save Money song with Fetty Wap and being like, yeah, like I like this song to listen to and not watch with the visual component.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just, yeah, like, I appreciate somebody who has that technical ability to do that. Like, wow, yeah, you're awesome. But I feel the same way about that as I do with someone that's, like, really, really good and technical at playing guitar and, like, shredding and tapping and all that bullshit. Like, you can be really good at that, but if, you know, you can't write, like, a catchy hook or something that's, like, serious, then, like, what good is all your technical ability? Like, not to say he can't write catchy hooks, but just, like, I would love to hear him try and do something in earnest.
Yeah.
Like, as far as rap goes, before I would, like, say, like, yeah, I, like, consider him, like, a rap artist. You know what I mean?
Well, and part of the reason why I asked, so, like, obviously he's always not only as, like, making a joke, but he's a lyricist, and I've heard him on, like, The Breakfast Club, Sway, and a few of these things where he's done freestyles, and he does, like, whether it's just memorizing, he's prepared for, I don't know, but either way, like, he clearly, like, yeah, he can put together some shit that you're like, wow, this dude's crazy.
But that's
And
what
then-
I mean. And freestyling is an entirely separate skill from like written and recorded rap. Like I can't freestyle where shit, and if anyone asked me to, I would probably just like burp and I'd be like, well, that's my freestyle. Because like the same thing with anything, like with comedy writing or design or like anything like that, like I have to rehearse it and I have to like scrutinize and improve it before I feel comfortable showing it to anybody.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. To have that skill entirely on its own is like freestyling that's fantastic, and obviously he's like a great lyricist and all that kind of shit. But yeah. That's how.
I literally only asked because the wife and I got into it and we've been binging the show because the show is funny, regardless of how he is. Like, it's just a funny show. But I was just curious, like, what your thoughts were on him because I'll be honest, I don't even know my opinion. I just know like, I listened to a few of his songs. I was like, on YouTube, I'm watching them. Yeah, I haven't listened to his music, not watching it, but I was just like, I'm kind of curious what you would think.
And you can tell with that is just like that. The visual component is the selling point. I mean, he's putting it up on Spotify and everything else, because it's an ancillary part of it. Like, well, if I'm putting out this song, if I'm going to be considered like an artist in a serious degree, I have to also have that companion, you know what I mean? But that's clearly not what he's pushing. Anything that's come, which obviously is great success, all the more power to that guy, but any success that's come off of the streaming stuff is off the strength of the visual stuff. People that have seen the video that are so attached to it that they want to be able to listen to it later.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, I agree 100%. Like I said, the only part of me that might give him a little more credit is only because he's connected with Philly. Like, if it wasn't that, maybe I wouldn't care as much. Yeah, but outside of that, I just go, okay, he's kind of a goofy dude making a joke of shit. But then he dropped some songs where I was like, oh, he's not being funny. Now he's actually, like, going in at it. And I'm like, I don't think anyone's really heard these ones because they only go in for the jokes. So I was like,
exactly.
No. Interesting. Nice. But no, Slime, first of all, let me say thank you so much for joining us. But before we do go, where can people find you? And we do have your links below, but where do you want them to find you?
People can find me on Instagram, slime_thegarbagemain, Twitter, at LilXSlime. If you just Google Slime the Garbage Man, I mean, my goddamn mug's all over that thing. But yeah, music's on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever good music's found. You can buy my shirts. You can, I don't know, if you find my email, you can send me whatever you want. But yeah, no, that's all up around there. You can listen to my podcast appearances. You can read my hard drive articles. You can do whatever the hell you please.
And don't say send whatever you want because you'll just get nothing but dick pics.
And also, if you're on the fence about trying to check him out too, for a lot of the songs I heard, I was like, man, these songs are like all 2.5 minutes long. This is fucking perfect. Thank you, for the love of God. Thank you for not making like 6-minute songs. For like
that's what I'm. It's the same principle as like I don't want to see a movie that has the audacity to be a second over 90 minutes. That's how I feel about
especially
the
this day and age.
Oh, dude. Well, yeah, then you must not. A lot of new movies now, it's all like 2-hour minimums.
Yeah, I don't fucking care. I'll turn it off when I get bored.
Yeah, like you mentioned music earlier. Like I'm in a band, like I play drums, so back to your equipment thing. Like fuck me, I have to carry all the equipment around. But it's like anytime we write a song, it's like over like 3.5 minutes long. I'm like, guys, don't you think we're being a little excessive here? Like, come on. So no, you're doing it right, man. Your shit's great.
Thank you, bro. I appreciate it.
Yeah, but no, thank you once again for joining us. And for anyone listening, if you haven't already, please make sure you hit subscribe, hit that notification bell. If you're listening to us on iTunes or Spotify, please subscribe to us. Leave us a 5-star rating. Even if you want to bash us in the comments, we will always respond. We love interacting with you all. And for those of you who've been sending us emails from iTunes, we will respond to those as well. I'll just say that. Some of them haven't been the most positive. Remember, Jim?
Oh yeah, no. I mean, if you're still listening after that email you sent us, we did read it. We just haven't responded.
Yeah. But with that, we want to say have a good night, everyone. Thank you for joining us, and cheers.
Cheers, everyone.
Have a good night, boys. The mason jar.
The mason jar. Whatever.